Speak the Word with Pastor Allen Olomuyiwa. Please stay tuned.
Glory be to God in the highest. Father, we thank you, Lord, for this opportunity once again. Receive our praise. In Jesus' precious name, I have prayed. Still on our topic, family atmosphere. Whatever you are to dress and keep, you will always represent and defend. Whatsoever you are to dress and to keep, you will always represent and defend. And God took the man whom he had formed and placed him in the garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it. What are you defending, or what are you representing? What are you defending, or what are you representing? Note this very clearly. Everybody carry an atmosphere. And whichever atmosphere you carry, you will represent and you will defend. There is a man called Laban, which happens to be one of the story or case study in the Bible. This man was defending the atmosphere he carried. They had two daughters, and it happens that the younger daughter find a suitor, and someone came to marry her. But not knowing to the man as he prepared, that the father had to say, after several preparation and all the likes of it, the father had to say to him that in this place, based on our atmosphere, the younger cannot go before the elder. And that really was what he was defending and he was representing. And to tell you, he only had two daughters. And that's to tell you the kind of atmosphere that runs in that family. And may I say to you, every atmosphere that you are defending or representing, it will show in your atmosphere. It will show in your environment. It will show in your house. It will show around you. And whatsoever that will promote that atmosphere is what you will stand for. And anything that will not promote that atmosphere, you are ready to defend your atmosphere. And that is exactly what God told the man, said, dress it and keep it. And the moment Adam and Eve ate the fruit, the moment they ate the fruit, something happened. There was a switch. Meaning, whichever atmosphere you are in and what you are seeing in your environment you don't like, there is a provision for switch. And that's exactly what happened to Adam. Adam was told to keep something. And because he was ignorant, he thought where he wanted to go to or what the wife suggested was going to be a good thing. And they switched. So there is a provision for switch in whichever atmosphere you may have found yourself or you are representing or knowing that is affecting you and you don't like. So there is a provision for switch. And this switch is one of the key things that you must pay attention to know how it should be done and how to operate it, and from the right source, if indeed you want the best of God in your life. And let me bring something out of a particular story I shared last week, talking about Judah, the fourth son of a man called Jacob, whom God through him started a nation called Israel. And this man was representing an atmosphere he carried. The first son died, the second son died. And not knowing what atmosphere the first and the second were defending, and he stood against the lady that he assumed was the cause of the death of his sons. And he had to send the lady back to her father's house. But not knowing that these young guys have switched from the atmosphere of their father to the atmosphere that will not want the next generation to see the light of the day, that will not want generation to come alive and fulfill their destiny, because this young guy refused to plant their seed inside this lady. And the provision of God, the plan of God was for a man to produce a seed, and that seed will go through the channel of a womb, and they refuse deliberately. The second one said, it won't be my, why will I plant it there? And God had to kill them himself. Why? Because they were defending another atmosphere that is working against the plan of God. And their father knew nothing about it. And that's why I mentioned, or I said, when you are ignorant about things, and you are ignorant about a thing, and you are still defending it, you are creating more chaos, working for the devil unknowingly. So you need to break your heart, your ignorance, if you are receiving an instruction now. So Jacob had to defend that, and in the process of defending, he had to send the lady packing that I didn't want the last son to die. I didn't want the remaining son to follow the same way, not knowing the truth. And the truth, is the only thing that will set you free if you apply them. And this was the atmosphere. And let me say this, you may have been a father that, release an atmosphere to your children, but you must keep and you must constantly check the state of their heart. That is, check the state of your flocks, whether they are still in the same atmosphere. But Judah never knew that these guys have switched from their atmosphere, but God knew his own, and he had to call them that, okay, since you have switched, I will allow you to go in your direction. And very importantly, one way to make this thing happen or to get to know is when you are constant on the altar for your family. It's important. Family atmosphere, one of the key things that sustain it is your altar. Our altar. It's important. You are a priest, whether you are a father or you are a mother or you are a son or daughter, you are a priest to represent and defend that altar. And this was done. And the atmosphere these guys were in or they were defending was not for the next generation to see the light of the day. Now, I want you to hold something there. There is another story I would like to share, which has something in common. Now, there is another woman, an influential woman, well-to-do. She was married to a older man, and they were living fine. They are enjoying their life. Everything was going on well for them. And this woman noticed, a traveling minister of God, a prophet, so to say, that usually comes, in their environment then. And she noticed that prophet really didn't have a prepared place for him. He would just, bunk anywhere. And she thought it within herself and spoke to the husband, let us make out of our room a place for this man to stay. And eventually the man was invited to stay. And the man enjoyed them and saw their generosity and the generous heart they extended towards him. And one day, he had to ask from his servant, what can we do for this woman? Based on this generosity, we need to do something. And, they were asking her, and what do we do? This, that, do you need, connection with the government? The woman said, I have it all. Do you need this? I have it. Along the line, the servant now noticed that this woman is barren, no child in this house. And the servant told the master, and the master called the woman and said, by this time next year, you will have a boy in this house. It's as if the man touched a wound. It's as if the man touched something that is not real, something that has become, that has been a problem. And said, don't lie to me. For a woman to say, don't lie to me, meaning she had heard that word severally, but nothing has been, yielded in that direction. No fruit, nothing came forth. And said, don't lie to me. It was something that was in an atmosphere, that there was no entrance into her life, into the atmosphere she is living, to give her a seed for our next generation to be what? To be seen before she died. And this was there. And after a while, she conceived and she gave birth. And as she gave birth, she felt, this is real. This is what we've been looking for so long. And not long, something happened. The boy and the father was in the field. And as they were in the field, the atmosphere that hindered them to have the seed for a longer period of time stuck with the father. And that atmosphere came calling And as the father and the child was at the field playing, something happened to the boy, and the boy died. And the man has to say, go and call the mother. She's the one that knew how this boy came by. Let her go and look for the prophet and see what the man can do. And the woman had it, and she quickly dashed to where the prophet lived. And the servant of the prophet was like, you have to talk to me before you get to my man. I'm not talking to you. I want to see him. He's the one that started this thing, and he must know how to take care of it by himself. And she met with the prophet and explained herself, and the prophet said, don't worry. And all the prophet could reach out to was the staff, some of the prayer thing, cruel style they use, they turned out to be abortive. None of them was working. Why? They didn't know. Why? Because the atmosphere was still calling that I don't want the next generation in this home. I don't want it. And before you know it, the man did do something to do. He said, everybody move out, and he stayed with the son. Eventually, he's, laid on that boy, and he releases life into that boy again, and he delivered that boy back to the mother. Now, let me say this thing. The life that the father cannot offer, the life that the mother cannot offer, it came from the man who carried the spirit of the father, the original father. And it imparted that boy with a life again, so that that boy can live, and for that generation to find expression through them again. But, the voice of those who have spoken to her could not gain access into the atmosphere to break in and to produce a seed and make the seed live. But this man was able to, got in, produced the seed, and made the seed live. And they have a generation that was speaking after them today. Why? Because somebody who knew better and gave them access into the atmosphere and broke whatsoever that was contending with the atmosphere to have a seed. The same thing happened to Tamar, that when she was sent packing, she had to seek wisdom to get back to the father, who happened to be what? Jacob. And she got the life from Judah rather. She got the life from Judah. And Judah said afterwards that, you are more righteous than I. Why? Because the atmosphere of the family that Judah turned out to be defending that he didn't know of, as a result of ignorance. That lady got wisdom, and she was able to break out of the atmosphere and got what the generation needs. Because those guys died, and there was no seed that would speak at the next generation. And this is one of the key things that God intended. Lucifer came to kill the seed and the generation that God is raising, and he didn't want them to see the light of the day. Are you a father that has been killing the seed of the next generation? Or are you a father that has made way for that seed to come to the light of the day? Which one are you? Or are you a mother who has arranged space for the seed of the next generation to come alive? Or a wife? Or you are that woman that has been killing? Just like, an example, there's another lady, Hagar, whom whose son was about to die, and she got a whisper in her ear that, carry the child in your hand. And as she carried the child, there was a life that came into that child. Which of them are you? Are you a father that killed the seed of the next generation? Or are you a mother that sustained the next seed and the seed of the next generation? Or which one are you? May God help you that you will not kill. But if you are in one, God will grant you grace to switch from the wrong atmosphere to the right atmosphere. God bless you. Should you want to call, is 080-9422-0222. 080-9422-0222. 080-9422-0222. And if you want to support this broadcast, our Zenith Bank account is available. Household of Deliverance Ministry, 1221-1271-90. 1221-1271-90. 1221-1271-90. Speak the word, activating divine grace. God bless you.